Las Vegas Historical Moments, 1930s. Las Vegas High School opened a new building in the fall of 1930 at a cost of $350,000, and some people thought that the school was too remote because it was located at 7th and Bridger. In 1986, 2 of the 3 remaining buildings were put on the National Register of Historic Places, the main academic building and gym. In 1993, Las Vegas Academy of the Arts started using the 1930 historic buildings, while Las Vegas High School is currently located on the east side of town. The first radio station, KGIX, began in September 1930 by John Heaton, but was unsuccessful because it had low power and limited hours, so it closed down within about 5 years. U.S. Interior Secretary Ray Wilbur drove the last spike into the ground that connected the railroad from Las Vegas to the future Boulder City on September 19, 1930. In 1930, Boulder Highway was paved, and by early 1931, construction began on Boulder Dam, which was the largest federal government construction project to that point. Clark County had a population of about 8,500 people, and more than 20,000 unemployed workers arrived in Las Vegas during the Great Depression, hoping to get one of the initial 4,000 dam construction jobs.
The beautiful little town of Boulder City was built within the short space of 15 months to house the army of 5,000 men to be employed. Here was no construction camp such as was known in the early days of the West. Instead, Boulder City was developed as a model town, furnishing every facility and convenience to its inhabitants.
Black workers were not allowed to live in Boulder City and were forced to make a longer commute from Las Vegas. There was no alcohol or gambling allowed in Boulder City, and guards were placed at the gate checking for booze.
As Boulder City was about 7 miles distant from the dam site, it was necessary to provide transportation for the workmen to and from the job. This was accomplished by a fleet of passenger motor trucks, some of them carrying as many as 160 men. A 24-hour day was divided into 3 shifts of 8 hours each for all classes of labor. The 4th of July, Labor Day, and Christmas were the only holidays observed. Boulder Dam laborers represented a fair cross-section of the American working class, and many stayed on the job during the entire period of construction.
No black men were hired, so on March 16, 1931, the NAACP established the Colored Citizens Labor and Protective Association. In 1932, 10 African Americans were hired by the contractors who were under pressure from the federal government. A total of 44 black men got a job during the 4 years of construction that included about 20,000 workers. Less than 1% of the jobs went to Hispanics, Asians, and Native Americans. In 1959, the government gave Boulder City to the residents, and it was incorporated on January 4, 1960. Boulder City and unincorporated Panica along the Utah border are the only 2 areas of Nevada where gambling is illegal today. On March 19, 1931, after about 10 years of debate, Nevada repealed the ban on gambling. Initially, the only requirement to get a gaming license was to be a citizen, and 8 days later, the governor added that local authorities would regulate gaming.
I do not gamble personally, but I do believe that gambling is an inherent trait in all normal men and women, and that it is far better to tear off the mask of hypocrisy and do in the open what we know is going on behind closed doors.
Initially, 6 gaming licenses were approved by April, with Mame Stalker and J.H. Morgan of the Northern Club getting license number 1. The Northern Club is where the eastern portion of the Golden Gate Casino is today. The Las Vegas Review-Journal reported on April 1st that the Red Rooster got the first gaming license on Highway 91, but they were also the first to lose their license in July, when Prohibition agents busted the Red Rooster for selling alcohol. The Meadows was the first resort built to have a casino when it opened on May 2, 1931. Patrons wore black tie and evening gowns, and the Meadows is known to have the first palm trees in the Las Vegas Valley. The off-strip resort was located just south of the city limits near Boulder Highway and on September 7th, there was a fire that destroyed the kitchen and hotel. As the Meadows is outside Las Vegas city limits, the fire department refused to answer the alarm. Assistant Chief Leon Rockwell said the department had been advised by the city attorney that municipal apparatus used outside the city limits was at the firemen's own risk, and that their insurance against accidents was void while fighting fire beyond the borders. The casino was not damaged and opened the next day. Railroad Pass Hotel and Casino opened on August 8, 1931, and got gaming license number 4, which to this day is the oldest continuous gaming license in the country. Railroad Pass is located in Henderson, just west of Boulder City. Along with repealing the gambling ban on March 19, 1931, Nevada also relaxed the divorce laws. Residency requirements went from 6 months to 6 weeks, and 9 reasons to get a divorce were added, including extreme cruelty entirely mental in nature. Most states had a 1-year wait, and only proven adultery or abandonment were valid reasons to get a divorce.
The total of 261 cases were granted in March of '52. Trials are run off on a belt-line system, allowing no time out between the cases. And the 3-minute speed with which they are granted leaves many a bystander not only panting, but dazed as they walk away free, with no further ado. And if the divorce happens to be an average case, the divorcee's next husband in line will have been waiting for her outside the courthouse, or maybe even have her new license already.
Clark County Indigent Hospital opened in 1931 and now is known as University Medical Center, or UMC, which is Nevada's only Level 1 trauma center and transplant center. On March 19, 1932, the Hotel Apache opened as the first building with an elevator, the third building with air conditioning, but the first hotel with air conditioning. There were high ceilings and a bathroom in every room. Since 1960, Hotel Apache has been part of Binion's. Fremont Street was the first street to get a stoplight in 1932. In 1933, Prohibition was repealed nationwide, but Las Vegas had not been strictly enforcing the ban on booze for years. The U.S. Federal Courthouse and Post Office opened in 1933. In 2002, Las Vegas Mayor Oscar Goodman, who was a former mob defense attorney, came up with the idea to build a mob museum at the old federal courthouse. So the city bought the building from the federal government for $1, and the mob museum opened on February 14, 2012. The inaugural Eldorado Days was a fundraiser for the Elks Lodge in 1935. It was going to be a one-time, 4-day celebration of the 30th anniversary of the founding of Las Vegas, and it was copied from Tombstone, Arizona, which celebrated their 50th anniversary in 1929 with a Eldorado celebration that had been held annually since then. El Dorado is a common nickname for a city full of gold in the Americas, and a miner looking for gold in Tombstone, Arizona, came up with the nickname El Dorado because the only thing the gold miner found was low-paying jobs and hot temperatures. The Las Vegas Review-Journal reported in March 1935 that Las Vegas will go Wild West in a big way next month when the local Elks stage what promises to be the biggest and most unique celebration ever attempted in this section.
El Dorado was not created as a tourist event. El Dorado was, for all of its period of time, was started and every year was there as a fundraiser for the Elks. Tourists were still coming to Las Vegas even though the dam was built. More and more tourists, so we weren't falling off on tourists. What El Dorado was and became the most important annual event to this community. And then post-World War II and into the 50s, it almost became as big as the Rose Bowl. El Dorado was never created to celebrate the history of Las Vegas. It was a mythical time in the 1850s that they were trying to recreate, not the history of Las Vegas. There were elements of that. When the Centennial Commission funded it, that's when the real focus became the history of the community of Las Vegas.
The Frontier is a popular idea, and it's one that they can sell, and they sure do sell it.
It had nothing to do with our history. There was no Old West here.
Hollywood produced the movie El Dorado in 1946 that was filmed during El Dorado, and it starred Roy Rogers. The second L in the movie title was dropped because two L's was considered too risque.
The opening of the celebration will be marked by the colorful Pioneer Parade. All stores and shops will be closed and a record attendance is anticipated.
El Dorado was the longest-running civic celebration in Las Vegas when it ended in 1997, but in 2005, the city celebration was restarted for the 100th anniversary of Las Vegas, with the new name of Las Vegas Days, with the newly created Las Vegas Centennial Commission funding the event. This year, the original name of El Dorado was brought back.
Live from Las Vegas, Channel 13 presents the 2023 El Dorado Days Parade.
And thank you so much for joining us today on this very special day. We are in downtown Las Vegas for the El Dorado Days Parade.
The Las Vegas Creek, which flowed from the Las Vegas Springs to the old Mormon fort, dried up in the summer of 1935.
In June 1935, the dam structure itself stood completed, 2.5 years in advance of the time originally designated. In September of the same year, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, voicing high praise for both designers and builders, dedicated Boulder Dam to the progress of the nation. The reservoir filling behind the dam was named Lake Mead in memory of Dr. Elwood Mead, late Commissioner of Reclamation, whose life work culminated in the building of Boulder Dam. The largest artificial body of water in the world, it extends upstream 115 miles into the lower reaches of the Grand Canyon.
There were 112 deaths officially related to dam construction, including 3 suicides, but the total does not include 42 workers whose cause of death was recorded as pneumonia. Some thought that the 42 deaths were due to carbon monoxide poisoning because of the trucks in the diversion tunnels. Families of those 42 workers were not compensated. For over 30 years, Charles Pop Squires was the volunteer weather observer for Las Vegas, and on January 1st, 1937, the National Weather Service officially started recording the weather. 24 days later, the lowest temperature was recorded at 8 degrees, and the hottest day of 117 degrees was first recorded on July 24, 1942. The Civil Aeronautics Act of 1938 regulated the airline industry and provided funds for airport construction that made it easier to take a plane ride to Vegas from all over the country. With the completion of Hoover Dam, the Colorado River started to fill up Lake Mead in 1935. St. Thomas was a place settled by Mormons in 1865, and over time had developed a small town with farms, stores, a school, and hotel. But St. Thomas was located within the boundary of Lake Mead. Hugh Lord was the last to leave St. Thomas on July 11, 1938, when he set his house on fire and rowed away from his doorstep on a boat. The town remained 70 feet underwater until the ruins of St. Thomas appeared in 2002, as Lake Mead retreated due to drought conditions. Also in 1938, horses with saddles were no longer allowed in casinos. Here are some horses inside the Apache Hotel in 1940. Authorities in Los Angeles began cracking down on illegal gambling and other vices after many years of corrupt police and government officials. So people in 1938 started moving to Las Vegas where gambling was legal. Los Angeles Police Department Vice Squad Commander Guy McAfee also simultaneously pursued a profitable life in the underground. He owned saloons and brothels and had ties to organized crime. When the crackdown began, McAfee retired from the LA Police Department and moved to Las Vegas, where he bought the Ambassador nightclub on Highway 91 in 1939 and renamed it the 91 Club. McAfee said, "I'm not saying the Los Angeles mayor made it too hot for me. No one ran me out of Los Angeles. I'm pulling out because I want to and no other reason." He had a piece of all kinds of places all over town. including the Frontier Club, Pioneer Club, and Golden Nugget on Fremont Street. He dominated this city for quite a while. Along with other Highway 91 casino owners, Guy McAfee was a co-founder of the unincorporated townships of Paradise and Winchester so that the city of Las Vegas could not annex the land and tax the casinos. Some believe that McAfee came up with the nickname Las Vegas Strip for Highway 91 because it reminded him of the Sunset Strip in Los Angeles. But the origin of the Strip name is not universally accepted. In 1939, Rhea Langham waited out her 6-week residency requirement in Las Vegas to divorce Clark Gable on March 7th. The publicity from the blockbuster Hollywood divorce was a big boost for Las Vegas in becoming the divorce capital of the world. Clark Gable was the biggest star in Hollywood and months later would star in Gone with the Wind. Nevada would also create quickie weddings by removing the need for a blood test, and Vegas wedding chapels stayed open 24 hours a day.